Welcome back, my fellow degenerates. Week 5 is upon us, and we are ready to solidify our starting lineups. Maybe you're 4-0, sitting pretty, somehow avoiding all these goddamn injuries, or you're 0-4 and all things look lost. Don't worry, I got teams in both of these situations. The good news is, though, it's early enough in the year to turn things around and make a playoff push. We'll go over Dan's surprises around the league before touching upon our underperformers and breakout players of the week. Y'all should have listened to me this offseason. I told you Bijan Robinson is a bum. Tyler Algier is going to steal carries. And what has he done so far? Exactly that. Bijan's the RB20 on the season. Total waste of a first round pick. We'll see how he performs against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. Otherwise, we'll give you guys some trade targets. The first buys are hitting us this week, and we have some key teams out: the Chargers, the Lions, the Eagles, and the Titans. Well, maybe not the Titans, but you guys get the idea. That's about all I got. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. And as always, good luck in all of your fantasy football endeavors, unless you're in one of our leagues, because then luck ain't going to save you. Peace.
In audio.
3, 2, 1, action. Welcome back to the DGen Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Dan Schmader. With me tonight is my co-host Dylan Rains.
Yellow.
And we're going to go review week 4, talk about some week 5 stuff, and go over week 10 surprises first. And then we have to go over our hits and misses, which were pretty good for Dylan, though.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Of course.
Not great for me.
That sounds
Let's talk
pretty
about
on
surprises for
par.
week 4. Week 4 shakas are not really becoming that shocking anymore. But let me start with one. In the Giants game, the target shares for Neighbors and Wandell. And we had talked a lot about Neighbors being Garrett Wilson, if you will. He gets a lot of targets. I'll get you in that wide receiver 30 range. But which is happening. He's getting those targets. But he's doing a lot more with them. I wouldn't say he's a PPR king, but he's a legitimate top 3, top 5 finisher on the year.
Yeah. I mean,
Would you agree with?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, Wandell's getting a lot of targets, but the same thing happened week 1 where Wandell had more targets than Neighbors, but Neighbors had much more points. So I think it's just kind of odd. I guess like Wandell's being like the safety valve, but he does run some similar routes to Neighbors. So it's not like they're completely different players. So I don't know.
I know
But
Neighbors is out this week, or allegedly.
yeah, he might be. So yeah. Wandell's like a potential flex play. I mean, he put up 18 PPR points last week, but I wouldn't expect that to be like the norm. So he's definitely
It would
good.
be a good play this week, though.
Yeah.
But
So
do you think Neighbors going forward is just a lock top 5 when he gets healthy?
yeah, I think so. He's so good. He's just
Unbelievable.
like all of those balls that are like in the end zone or on the sideline. He's just making such great catches. It's just like him just getting the toe taps, and it's just like he's so present. It's
Yeah. He's such a good mix of like a lot of different players.
Yeah.
You got OBJ in him, obviously. He
yeah.
plays big. He's a stud. He's a stud. I shouldn't be shocked because of his talent, but just with Daniel Jones and how bad the Giants have been.
It's definitely a surprise.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to number 2. Let's go to the Falcons game.
Yep.
And this isn't a surprise to you, Dylan, because you talked about this a lot a couple weeks prior to the season. Bijan and Algier split. It was a weird game script, no doubt. But Algier commanded more touches and did more with them.
Yeah.
Is this a problem for Bijan owners?
I think it is. I think Bijan owners, this game was a wake-up call. I think they really realized that Bijan's been penciled in as a top 5 asset, both dynasty as well as regular redraft, but he hasn't really earned it. And Algier has put up 2 great years, and I think he's going to continue to do that. And they're just going to kind of keep going with the hot hand. So, like you said, Bijan, terrible game running. I think he had 7 carries for 28 yards, and Algier had 8 carries for 60 yards. So it's just I think that's just gonna be a split backfield. I mean, obviously Bijan's still the lead back, but I don't think he is impervious to getting spelled by Algier. So
Yeah. Wow. And Algiers a good player, no doubt.
yeah,
I'd be more worried if I'm a Bijan owner. I'm more worried than if I'm like a Brees Hall owner. But we'll get to that.
yeah.
From the same game, from the same Falcons game, we're on number 3. Kyle Pitts.
Oh,
This isn't a shaka. Shaka. But what is shocking is that many of us fell back into the Kyle Pitts trap in 2024.
yep.
What do you think? Is he dead? Is he going to be dead? Is he dead? Has he been dead?
I don't know what his deal is, man. Like, it's just so shocking, right? Like, he had one of the most historic rookie tight end seasons ever. So good. And then he's just been a nothing burger since. And this year was the hope with Kirk Cousins. Their offense looks a little bit slow, but I don't know. It's just like he's just not getting open. He's not getting the targets. Do you even have any targets? I think he had 0 catches, right?
Yeah, I think he may have had 1
Yeah.
target, 2 targets.
Yeah, it's just like what's going on? I haven't gone back to watch like the full game or anything, so
Yes, that I promise to anyone who listens out here, I will watch some Kyle Pitts footage on all 22, and we're gonna see if he can't who can he not separate against? Because I know that's the problem. But is he just lined up in the wrong spot and getting the wrong matchups,
yeah.
or is he not burning linebackers? Number 4, DeAndre Swift boom game. This was pretty surprising. Almost had 100 yards on the ground, plus a score, plus another 72 yards through the air on 7 receptions. He really was like throwing action out there. Is this more to come? Is a juicy matchup this week?
I don't know. This week he does have a juicy matchup, so I have a couple DeAndre Swift shares. I've been trying like hell to move him in both of the leagues that I have them, especially with the juicy matchup being like oh look, they're playing the Panthers. I think it's the Panthers, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like, dude, they're playing the Panthers. You're gonna get another great game from them, but like nobody's really biting. So, um, and
Guys.
I can't remember exactly what the offers I had were, but like they were nothing like too outrageous. Like I wasn't trying to sell them as like a high end RB2 or anything like that. It was like just consolidating a piece or something. So,
Yeah.
but I would definitely try and sell them if you have them, especially like this week before the Panthers game.
Yeah. Make it a little bit more enticing. That's interesting. Because I've said it before on this show. He's not a good running back, but he is extremely athletic. So he's going to have games.
Yeah, I just
Uh,
don't really trust Caleb this year. I think it's going to take a lot of time to work these kinks out, which is okay, but I
yeah.
don't,
Yeah. Yeah. He's got some footwork to do.
yes.
Number 5, just a general shout out to the Vikings and Packers game. It
Wow.
was amazing. No, it looked like it was going to be a blowout in the Vikings' favor, and then Love made it a game.
Yeah.
This is important to talk about Dontavian Wicks. I think we know Jaden Reed is a lock guy, but Dontavian Wicks and Tucker Kraft outlook.
Yeah.
Are you going after them at all?
I like both of them for waiver wire pickups. I think, I mean, now it's Thursday, right? So they should be scooped up in pretty much every league, unless it's a smaller league like a 10 man. But especially with Christian Watson going down, unfortunately, I think part of the problem here is there's so many receivers, like it can go to them. And as terrible as it is, the injuries consolidate the receiver share more. So a couple of these guys get picked off. Maybe like Romeo Dobbs goes down, and all of a sudden you really only have 2 wide receivers there. And it could be like, I mean, Jordan Love had 350 yards, I believe, 4 touchdowns. I know he threw quite a few picks as well, but it was
Yeah, he was on that Jameis Winston train.
yeah. So, I mean, that's going to get a lot of points. So, and Tucker Kraft, far and away, the tight end one there. I don't know why we thought Musgrave was the one coming into the year. I mean, I know why I thought it. I just thought he was a dog last year playing through a lacerated kidney. I was like, oh, yeah, he's definitely a tough guy. It's going to be him. But Tucker Kraft's the tight
Yeah,
end one there.
and Musgrave had higher draft capital,
Yeah.
which doesn't mean it because Tucker got drafted like a round later. But Tucker and Jordan Love, while Musgrave was out last year, did have a bit of a connection. And this year's tight end economy, Tucker Craft is a
Yeah.
steal. Number 6, one of our favorite players of all time, Joey Flacco, baby. We all had
Oh,
hoped and prayed this day would come, and now it has, and I'm all in and ready to play Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Downs.
yeah. Downs had a game. So did Pittman.
He did.
Um, I think the good takeaway from this game as well is before AR went down, Michael Pittman had a lot of involvement. So that was really good to see. But I think AR is fine this week, right? Isn't he
I
playing?
hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not.
Yeah. I don't know. I think he's supposedly playing, so we'll see. But I think his days are probably, if I had to guess, his days are numbered, right? Even if he plays,
Yeah,
like it's the same thing's gonna happen again. It's like last year. He
yeah.
got hurt, he came back out, got hurt again, came back in, and then like just was done. So I think that's gonna happen again, right?
I could see it, or I could even see him being benched in favor of Flacco. I mean,
Uh,
he moved the offense way better. It seemed
yeah,
like.
true. So I don't know if they'd go that far because I there's no future with Flacco outside of this year, really. So, but
True.
if he does play, I love it for Michael Pittman specifically,
Yeah,
and so
yeah. Love it for Downs. Love it for Pittman. I'd even throw Helen Granson out there. Um,
I don't know about
number
that.
7, Shaka.
That's a little
I
much.
wouldn't actually put Granson out there, but in this tight end economy, um, 7, the Jets losing to the Broncos, and it was an abysmal game. I am honest, I barely watched it, but Brees Hall had like 10 carries for 6 yards. Garrett Wilson continues to disappoint. What's the panic alarm level on this?
That game was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah,
But one thing for people who didn't watch the game, it was like an absolute downpour for the majority of the game. Rain was coming down hard, so it wasn't just like a light drizzle either. Like affects it big time. So I don't want to use that as
yeah.
like a total cop out answer, but the Jets looked like shit. They were all on different pages. Their line was much more discombobulated than they have been in previous weeks. So I don't know. Brees struggled out there. Braylon Allen looked great. We keep touching on him, so that's an interesting. Garrett Wilson. I don't know what his problem is. I think he's just not on the same page as Rodgers, and somehow guys like Lazard and Tyler Conklin are just like much easier to get along with for Rodgers. So
Potentially Devontae Adams coming up here.
yes, big news right there.
We'll see.
So we'll see.
We shall see.
But
Number 8, Shaka. Aiden Daniels is officially a god,
yeah,
crushing the Cardinals, throwing for over 200 yards with just a few incompletions and running for 50 with a score. I'm all aboard the Jaden Daniels train. I know he's going to have his mess ups and his heartaches, but for fantasy, this is just exactly what you're looking for. Injury potential aside, this is just a guy who you got in a later round, and now he's throwing up 25 pieces for you.
yep. I
Not
love.
much to say.
Yeah, I traded for him in a league. Very happy.
What was the trade?
It's a 2 quarterback league, so it's a little bit different in terms of values, but
Yeah.
it was I traded Caleb Williams and Jamar Chase for Daniels and Brian Thomas Jr. So
Very nice.
he was offering a bunch of really crappy wide receivers. Then he's like, "I'll do BTJ," and I was like, "All right, fine, fuck it, I'll do it for BTJ." But so
Yeah.
I mean, my
I think
quarterback
that's the trade.
situation in that league is absolutely dire. I had Caleb and Trevor, so I got to get
Yeah.
rid of Jamar. So
Yeah, I like it. I
yeah,
like it. You're getting a substantially better quarterback.
yeah,
And BTJ, we'll probably talk about him later in the show, but he's
yes,
surprise number 9, almost done. Ravens smackdown of the Bills. Only the running backs and Lamar benefiting.
yeah.
And they did this on the Bills defense. What do we think? Are we just totally out for now on Flowers? Andrews is dead to us, obviously. And just sticking with Lamar and Derek from the Ravens.
Yeah, I think so. I think like Zay maybe as a flex play. Andrews you can't touch. But that's about it. I mean, Justice Hill was the leading receiver that game. So it's just
Unbelievable, dude.
yeah, I don't
It's
know.
just unreal.
I don't love playing Zay, but also like when they just get up on a team like that, it just shows you they're going to keep running the ball, which they did. So the game got out of hand early. I feel like that always happens with the Bills a few times a year. They either like blow the doors off someone and their game's like sloppy, or they just get like shit on and Josh can't get it together like he does 90% of the time. So,
True. Very true.
but I don't like
Uh,
playing Zay.
yeah, I like Zay. I think he's great, but
Yeah.
that offense is just brutal.
Yeah.
Speaking of 2 good offenses, though, last one, number 10, the Seahawks versus the Lions was probably my favorite game of the week, and a lot of important fantasy pieces started to shine. Kenny Walker is special,
Yeah.
and Gino is starting to piece it together, and that means big things for DK Metcalf. Um, Smoke or fire going forward. You're not going to sell any of these guys, right?
Um, I think if somebody like is just wants to overpay heavy, I'd be more looking to sell them in like a dynasty league compared to a redraft league. But in terms of redraft, it's hard. I've never been a huge Metcalf fan, but he's had a great start to the year. So I feel like a lot of his plays just get taken away because of pass interference calls. So he loses the points on those. But I mean, he's just keeps. I said to sell him last week, and he went out there again and had a great game. So and then
He's having a great year, but I
yeah,
agree. I felt the same way about him, and I mean, he's had a good year before, and then came back down. Maybe he's going to have one of those like every 3-year wide receiver 1 finishes.
yeah, he's only had one so far. So it's like I don't really
Yep,
expect him to keep the pace, but who knows? I think Kenny Walker's a god. And
he's a god.
also that Lions run D has been insanely good. Um,
He
up,
did that. Yes, and it was not going well in the beginning. He's a god.
yeah, they shut down James Conner last week. He put up nothing. So yeah, Kenneth Walker to the moon. Who's
Yeah, we missed our window.
yeah, we did.
No one's moving him now. All right, let's get into our hits and misses last week. This is abysmal on my part. You want to kick us off with your QB's
Ye-
selections from last week?
Yeah, so I had CJ Stroud. He hit. Not much to talk about. They look great down there in Texas. And Danny Dimes, I went with. I don't know
Eh,
why. That was
you got kind of close.
he got 10 points though. Needed like 15 or so to hit his projection, but Danny Dimes, I should have seen that coming. As soon as I finished recording that video, I was like, man, why the hell would I expect Danny Dimes to have 2 good games in a row? That's like the dumbest take ever. So
I liked it at the time. Not
yeah.
gonna lie. And 10.5 out of 15 doesn't kill you. My QBs, I went with what I thought was just like an easy win. And it was Patrick Mahomes, miss. And without Rasheed Rice now, I'm not picking him again. No way. And then I hit on Mr. Andy Dalton, the savior of Carolina.
Yes. Your theme of hitting players over there. I had some nice RB picks last week. Tony Pollard, Bucky Irving both hit their projections. Pollard with
Tony looked
that
great.
Tony with that garbage TD at the end of the game, but he was over his projection anyways already. So, and then Bucky had like a pretty quiet game, but it was, I think, 12 and a half points. So it was pretty decent workload, just no TDs. So,
Perfect. His time will come.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, wait, he did have a
Pollard looked great.
TD. I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tony looked great. I hit on my pick of Chuba Hubbard, which is he's been dominating.
Yeah.
Time to sell is coming up though.
Yeah.
So
His candle
you
is
have
getting
Chuba.
real low.
Yep. If you have Chuba, you better start doing some work after hours. I missed on Najee by a smidge, 2 points. He had a horrible first half of that game. Cordell Patterson went down, and Najee drove it home mostly through the air. But hopefully Najee has a better week. What about wide receivers? Oh,
Um, my half of the Atlanta wide receivers didn't hold up. Drake London, he only had 12 points out of 14 projected. But I will say he did increase his targets this week. He had 12 targets last week. So
Yeah, let's
still
go.
love him going forward. So that's a good pick. And then Deontay Johnson, I did hit. He had another great week, finding the end zone again. Deontay's kind of just like moving through the ranks really quickly these past 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what he looks like going forward. But if the offense looks anything like this, like throughout the year, he could be like a wide receiver one finish. So,
Yeah, definitely. This is exactly what people hoped he would be
yeah.
going to Carolina.
So,
Just didn't know it took a QB change to get there.
yeah.
I went with Drake London's running mate, Darnell Mooney. In the same game, he just missed it, 8.5 out of 10.2. But I like Mooney going forward. I think he's a good flex option, especially with bye weeks coming up. And then Khalil Shakir also missed by just a smidge. But he's still involved. He also had his first like missed target
Yeah.
over in week 4, so his streak is coming to an end. But he'll still be an option for flex plays going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I still like
Tight end.
Shakir. Tight ends, Jake Ferguson, he had a great game, 7 catches, 50 yards. That's premium right now, this year's tight end field. So,
Yes,
and then
it sure is.
Zach Ertz, also pretty dog shit game, but it was just enough to get like 8 points out of him. So we'll
You
take
got
that.
it done.
Yeah.
2-point conversion.
Yeah.
And we'll just skim through mine. I missed on Tyler Conklin. He still put up 4.5 points in that game, which I feel blessed.
Yeah.
And then Cole Kmet also missed. He did 6.5. That was all DeAndre Swift show.
Yeah.
Let's go over some underperformers.
All right. So we already talked about him earlier, but Bijan Robinson, he's my underperformer of the week. Dan, if you had to guess, what's his RB ranking on the season in full PPR?
I just looked. I believe it is like RB 21.
It's 20. Yeah. So
20. Okay.
I mean,
Not great.
I think it's about time people can start like edging him back in the rankings a little bit every week. I mean, if you look at the projections on every fantasy app, which you shouldn't use when making your start sit decisions, every week he's at like 19 points. That's just not the
Yeah,
case.
he's top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Every
just
week.
not the case for Bijan. Algiers there. They're going to split time. Bijan's still the lead back. Obviously, I'm not saying that that's not true, but I think this is much more realistic for Bijan as the
Yeah.
season goes forward, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think we could see him creep up a little bit.
Yeah, like I don't think like this is his ceiling by any means. This is more of like a floor game for him, but
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm not talking top 5. I'm just talking, top 12.
yeah.
Just 'cause he's going to get a lot of receptions, but his touchdowns are just not really what you're looking for.
Nope.
This is I have a guy. I picked Kyler Murray, who I have a lot of stock of, so it's like particularly irritating to me. But
Yep.
he was held in check in his last game. He got absolutely smoked, and he only passed 22 times, 140 yards and a touchdown. And he did not do much on the ground, which if that is the case, Kyler Murray is not going to get you what you're looking for. I don't know. The Commanders' defense is not very good. I thought that game was going to be like high scoring lock, but
Yeah.
sometimes it just isn't clicking for him. I don't know. He started off hot with a touchdown to Marv too.
Yeah, it was all downhill after that. I was very
What are you doing
excited.
with Kyler? Are you just holding on to Kyler?
Yeah, I have him in 2 leagues as well. I'm just saying fuck it, I'm playing him. There's like
Yeah.
upside games you can't miss out on.
Sure.
So, but unfortunately, he doesn't look too great. But I think we've talked a lot about Kyler lately and the Cardinals team as a whole. It's just kind of a disappointing team, but also our expectations for the team are much too high. We need to kind of like bring it back a bit.
They were sky high
Yeah.
to start the season off.
Yeah. And then some breakouts from this past week.
Times.
Brian Thomas Jr., he had his first 20 plus point game. He's looked good so far. He's already a fringe wide receiver one as a rookie, but last 2 weeks, he's seen 9 targets each week. Jags offense has looked pretty bad, but he's kind of the bright spot there. If his target share continues this way, I think he's kind of just going to be penciled into like at least a high end wide receiver too for the rest of the season. So
Awesome. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I'm curious what will happen when Ingram comes out, but I don't think he'll be really that much affected by someone like Ingram. Um,
yeah,
versus like Christian Kirk might be
yeah,
more impacted by that. I also have a young wide receiver, year two, Dontavian Wicks.
yes,
He had a huge game,
yeah,
and Christian Watson is now out. Wicks had 13 targets, 2 touchdowns. We already talked about him in the week 4 surprises. I am probably going to play him this week on the teams that I have him,
yeah,
which we'll see.
yeah. Um, I kind of like that. It just who are they playing this week? I can't remember off the top
They
of
have a
my
good
head.
matchup. I think they're playing. Ooh, is it a good matchup? Is it the 49ers?
I
Let's see.
think no, it's the Rams.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that's
That's why
that's juice. Yeah,
that
fucking,
is
I'd
good.
rip them. So
We're
yeah,
doing it.
I like that. Yeah, start Wicks, everybody. That's what we like.
Yeah,
Unless
maybe start Tucky Craft too.
yeah, I like Tucky Craft a lot. Unless you have Kittle or Bowers, pretty much.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's run it.
yeah. All right, let's move on to some trades of the week. Just some targets. Maybe you should buy, maybe you should sell. My buy pickup of the week is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had a very slow start to the year. Plus, he has a bye week this week. So it's always good to try and get someone when their bye week's coming up. Hurts obviously underperforming. He's QB9 right now, which isn't terrible, but it's only 16 points per game. In the past, normally he's looking at 22, 23, 24 points per
Yeah.
game. So I would say if you have Jalen Hurts, you're very disappointed in his performance so far. So maybe you can kind of get someone for him right now, pry him away from someone who's a little bit frustrated. So whether it's a similar ranked QB, a QB a little bit ahead of him, that kind of thing. So
I love it because
yeah,
he's getting AJB,
yeah,
Devontae.
yeah. He's getting his
Yeah,
boys back, which obviously the other owners should know in your league, but that might stop their frustrations of selling him right when it's the bye week. So, and then my
yeah.
sell of the week is going to be Baker Mayfield. These are all very contingent on like what you can get in your league. I don't think some leagues aren't going to view Baker Mayfield as the QB3, which he is currently right now, but some people might view him that way. I mean, he's looked great. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin look amazing. They have a decent running game now, so I don't know. I'd probably sell him. I don't think Baker's the real deal. I'd try and swap him. Maybe you give Baker and something for Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't
I
mind
like
doing.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm on board. I mean, Baker's like overplaying his
yeah,
output so much right
yeah,
now.
for sure. So and
Alrighty.
yeah,
Sell candidates for me are DeAndre Swift, which we've
yeah,
already gone over. Huge game. You don't trust Caleb. I don't trust Caleb. And the Bears are a dumpster fire. And then sell Chuba Hubbard, which we already talked about again. Jonathan Brooks is coming back. The question that I have is, how long do you have? And can Chuba like maintain his role there despite Jonathan Brooks? Which I don't think so.
yeah,
So I'm saying sell him if you can. But
yeah.
people are like clued in, so it might be difficult.
Yeah, I think this is why this is the week you have to sell Juba. Like we mentioned earlier, with the easier matchup this week against the Bears. Um, just it's still far out from Brooks. Once Brooks comes back, we know it's going to be a split time, but people are going to act like it's going to be like 100-0 Brooks Juba. So he'll be
Yeah.
worth jack squat then.
Right. And even if it wasn't, then they're splitting carries. But I think Brooks is the real deal. It's just a matter of how healthy he is.
Yeah.
Pie candidates, one is an obvious one and might be really difficult to do, and one is just like a WTF. What are you talking about? Terry McLaurin. Um, I don't think some people are really high on him. I don't think he's like got top 15, top 18 potential, but I like he's a guy that I think can break into the top 20. top
Yeah.
24. Um, but he might become more expensive because we're coming off the heels of like a crazy Jaden Daniels game.
Yeah. I like it.
So we'll see. And then Javonte Williams is my RB buy candidate, and that's solely because I think he's going to be like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
Like people are probably thinking about dropping him. Um, but he kind of had more. He still continues to have good volume, and at some point it's gonna click, right?
I think
I feel
so.
that.
I hope so. I mean, Bo Nix threw for what, 60 yards? I know that's throwing, but I don't think that's going to be like their offense going forward, hopefully. So,
Yeah, he's an interesting player. I said that all last year as well. Like he's getting 15 to 20 touches. He's gonna score a touchdown, and it never happened. But
literally never.
because he's so cheap, it's like go try to get him.
Yeah.
You know?
It's going to be the turnaround. No, I like it. I was thinking about setting a deal for him today, but I was like, I'm playing Rico Dowdle instead. I can't imagine it's that much of a difference to warrant giving
Yeah,
something up. But
yeah, exactly. Oh, are you trying to get him in Dynasty?
I was looking at both Dynasty and Redraft, but
Yeah.
it was like I was like, there's no difference really between those two. Plus Rico's better offense. So, but I do like Javante. I think you could probably get him for something cheap, a bench player. Maybe somebody needs a wide receiver for a bye week.
You're getting like Darnell Mooney or something.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's wrap up with some week 5 predictions. And I need to hit better than 2 out of 8 here. Come on. Come on, one time. What do you got, Dill? QBs.
All right. So correct me. We're just gonna go with more like flex plays now going forward instead of having like some lock guys every week.
Yep.
So my QB of the week is gonna be Brock Purdy. He's currently only QB 13, but he's playing the Cardinals, who have been eviscerated by quarterbacks week in and week out. And his receivers are all another week healthier. They played last week, but they weren't as like fully up to speed. So we'll see Debo fully healthy, Kittle more healthy, Ayuk's involvement. Let's see what that looks like. So I think it's an exciting week for Purdy with the matchup.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. The only thing I worry about, and this happened to me a couple of times last week, but the team, it gets so far ahead so quickly.
Yeah,
And then it's like move away from the
I
pass. And you're like,
know.
what?
I was like praying that the Patriots would score this past week because I was like, oh God, Debo needs to stay on the field. But
I know. It's just crazy. Like by the end of the first half,
yeah,
the NFL has been pretty abysmal so far this
yeah.
year. Um, my QB, kind of like fringe flex play is Caleb Williams
All right.
versus the Carolina Panthers. This one is tough, but the matchup is great, and I think we're finally going to get to see like Caleb throw for 300 yards and get DJ Moore involved. Keep getting quick dump offs and easy yards from Swift.
Yep.
I'm praying, please.
Yeah. I want to see it. So I like the pick.
Yeah.
Um, my RB of the week, which is, I don't know what I was thinking when I made this pick. Well, I do, but the I'm starting this guy in 2 leagues already is Trey Sermon. I'm convinced that JT is going to be out with his ankle sprain. They keep trying to
Yeah.
talk it down, saying it's not a big deal, but I don't think they need to force JT back to play with a sprained ankle in week 5. I think that seems pretty idiotic to me. So
Yep.
Trey Sermon's pretty much the only other running back on the roster. So I think Trey Sermon's going to get pretty much all the work and they're going to lean on him a good amount. I mean, I know it's a different team than last year, but Zach Moss filling in had those games where he was went nuclear on the Colts last year. So let's see what it looks like. I'm going to risk it and start him.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm having memories of Trey Sermon on. Who did he transfer to? Ohio State?
I think
And they
so.
played in, yeah, and they played in the college football playoffs, and he was a beast. Yeah, I've been waiting for Sermon. Sermon was on the Niners for a little bit.
Yeah.
He made a stop on the Eagles. Like he's got the talent.
Yeah.
Um, and if he gets the volume, you never know.
Yeah.
I wonder who will be starting for the Colts though. If it's Flacco, I'm like, that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
Love that story.
my RB flex option is Ramondre Stevenson versus the Dolphins. This is again as a matchup thing. Pollard crushed the Dolphins this past week. Ramondre was a big sell candidate of ours, and I'm not taking that back. He should still be sold. But if you do have Ramondre, I think this is the week where you start him, and he gets you kind of a boom week.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dill?
Yeah.
Stevenson?
I kind of like it just because the matchup. When I first saw you put Stevenson, I was like, ew.
Yeah.
But then I realized my pick last week, Tony Pollard, I made solely because he was going against the Dolphins and he had like 5 points the previous week. So
Yeah.
I think this is
You know who's
just,
actually not bad though is Antonio Gibson,
yeah.
like in that role.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a little bit of like a spark plug guy. But
Yep.
I think that being said, though, if you have Ramondre Stevenson, you play him this week, and then I think you hope that he does well, and then you sell him. You got to get him out of
Yes.
there as soon as he has a good
Yep.
game. You just get him
Yeah.
off. Yeah,
You're praying for it. Like you just like one good game,
yeah.
please.
He
Yeah.
gets
'Cause
like
you just can't
16 points, and you're just
yeah,
like, hell yeah, let me sell him for anything.
anything. Yeah,
Ugh,
the Pats is just they're
yeah,
absolutely horrendous. My other start of the week um, is Najee Harris versus Dallas,
yeah,
which again is matchup based. Plus, I think Jalen Warren and Cordell Patterson are both. Warren is definitely not going to play, and Patterson,
yeah.
we'll see. But I like it.
Yeah, I think that's our most picked player. I think we both have picked Najee at least once, if not twice. So he's got to
We
hit
just
it.
can't quit him.
He's got to hit eventually,
Hey,
man.
you.
Uh, my wide receiver of the week, regardless of the quarterback that they have, is Michael Pittman Jr. Um, whether it's Anthony Richardson or Joe Flacco, I like Pittman. Like I mentioned earlier, Pittman got more involved with AR at the beginning of the game last week. He put up 17 points, and they're playing the Jags this week, who
Yep.
look awful. They've gotten they're 0-4. Last week they got shredded by the Texans. Week before they got absolutely dumpstered by the Bills. So give me Michael Pittman. Make a statement game right here.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm going to start him.
Yep.
I think I have him in. My guy's kind of been on the Michael Pittman ride as well. T. Higgins, who was one of my guys to
Yes, he was.
start the season off, which I completely regret. But T. Higgins is playing against the Ravens, and I think you can pass a little bit on the Ravens
Huh.
and not really run as much. So I'm fading Moss and Chase Brown, but I'm going to go with T. Higgins.
All right.
I think he can be involved in the game plan.
Yeah. I think T. Higgins he just needs time. I don't know what's going on, but like he's still good. Like it's been so much like T. Higgins slander, which I understand. He's barely played the last year and a half, but he's still good. Like he's a good wide receiver.
Yeah,
Um, he was viewed in the same
yeah.
tier as Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle if you go back to a year and a half ago. So
It's just been a rough ride, man.
yeah,
The last couple of years.
it has been. So I think he's still got it in him though. We'll see if it's
Yeah,
this
and
week.
Burrow seems to be heating up a little
Yeah.
bit.
So
All
that's
right.
good. All right. My tight end pick of the week is we're going back to this game that we keep choosing. We're going Cole Kmet versus the Panthers.
Ugh,
Um,
ugh.
I
I
just,
have Caleb, so let's go.
yeah,
Let's go.
1-2 punch right here. I mean, Cole Kmet, it's all off of one game, but he's the tight end 4 right now. Um, I just like him versus this Panthers team. That's about,
Yeah,
I don't think you have
fuck
to
it.
say much else. I mean, Caleb likes him. They have some familiarity already. It's not like they're on the same page. So I think it comes back this week after a down week last week.
I like it. I like it. I
Yeah.
think the whole team's gonna be
Yeah.
gonna be a statement game for
Yeah.
Caleb.
Let's
And then
go.
my tight end pick of the week.
Dude, the Bears are going to lose. They're going to get their brakes blown off by the Panthers. uh,
Who's not gonna lose though are the Seattle Seahawks and Noah Fant. My
no.
tight end pick of the week.
Wow.
This is an interesting one because his production certainly isn't that high, so this could be a gimme.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go back to the Giants. Maybe the Giants playing well, and that means that Noah Fant's is gonna eat
Yeah.
all night long.
Yeah. I see it for sure. Noah Fant, tight
You
end
see it?
tight end 20 on the season. This is gonna be his calling right here.
He's just gonna slip into
Yeah.
top 12
I will
finish
say
this
the
week. He's
Giants do.
catching a touchdown.
Giants D is so bad, so I think it's a good
Yeah.
time for him. They probably
When it
will.
comes to flex guys, like, you really are just looking for kind of matchups, right?
Yeah, like, it's just matchups, and I mean, theoretically, their team should be good for Noah Fant with DK over the top, clearing things out, JSN kinda short outside routes, and then Kenneth Walker running the ball, like, that should really open up a lot of space for Noah Fant to get open, so, yeah, I like it.
Here's hoping. Here's
Yeah.
hoping. I feel good about these picks, dude.
Yeah.
I think our hit percentage is gonna be real high next
Better
week.
than 2 and 8 or 2 for
I
8?
hope so.
Yeah.
2 for 8.
Yeah.
And then I get 2 extra bonus points if Javonte Williams also hits this week.
Okay.
I have
2
no idea who the Broncos are playing, but below.
wait, 2 extra bonus or just 1? You got
I get
whatever.
2 points.
Alright, they're playing the Raiders, so
Fucking
let's see.
go. Let's go.
Alright.
Got a cheap win.
Yeah.
Alrighty, guys. Well, that's it for the week. Good luck in your week 5 matchups. Hopefully you play some of the guys we're talking about, except for Trey Sermon, because I'm bust.
No shot.
Just kidding.
No shot.
Please like and subscribe. Leave us a comment, and we'll see you next week.
Sure.
See you guys.
See you guys.